Hey guys, what's up? It's Muaaz here and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can edit videos using Sony Vegas Pro and more specifically Sony Vegas Pro 16, which literally just came out. I've been using Sony Vegas to edit my videos since like Sony Vegas 11 or 12, and I know how scary this program can look to like someone who's like never used it before. In my last video like this, where I think I covered like how to edit on Sony Vegas Pro 14, that just hit 400,000 views, so I thought now would be a really good time to make an updated version of the video just because the new program came out, and I thought I might as well show you guys some new things. If you guys do end up enjoying the video and want to see more videos like it, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe at the end of the video. But other than that, let's get on with the video. So just like I said before, the first look at Sony Vegas Pro can look really confusing and scary, and I know it did for me first, like when I first started, so let me just quickly walk you guys through some of the basics. The first thing that we want to do, of course, is just import some video files, and to do that, all I have to do is go to File on the top left, right here, and then go to Import, and then from there, you can just click on Media. Now once you're here, you can just browse your computer for the file or video that you want to edit on Vegas from your computer. So for starters, I'm just going to be using one of my old intros that I haven't used in months because it's a short clip, and I think it would be pretty good for like showing you guys some of the basics when it comes to editing like video. Alright, so I think mine should be stored in the intros folder, and then yeah, there it is. So once you find the clip that you actually want to use, all you have to do is just select it like by clicking it once, then click on open, and once you do that, you should see it sitting in the Project Media tab on Sony Vegas. Now before I go into like details on how to actually edit the clip, I just want to tell you guys like what these other tabs are here, because they used to confuse me when I first started using Sony Vegas, so I just want to like quickly cover them for you guys. Media generators, honestly I have zero idea what this does, but video effects, this is basically like adding like effects to your like video. So if you want to do like color correction, or maybe make the video brighter or darker, or add like more colors to it and things like that. Transitions is basically just like cool effects that you can have between like different clips that you might have, just kind of makes them like flow together like seamlessly, I guess, if that makes sense. Then Explorer is basically like what we just did to find that file on my computer, like the intro file. You can just basically like go through here and then find what you want to use. And then Project Media is of course all the clips that you're going to be using in your video, or like what you're going to be editing with. Now if I want to actually edit this clip, all I would have to do would be just to drag and then drop it right into the timeline under here. And the timeline is essentially where you're going to be editing the raw footage of all the clips stored in the Project Media tab like I was just talking about. So basically like every image you have, or every song or video that you're going to be importing into your project, it's all going to go into the Project Media tab, and you'll be able to like drag and drop it from here. Anyways, you might get a little pop-up like this one right here saying, do you want to set your project video settings to match this media? For me personally, I always hit no, and I go and edit all that stuff later on, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that too. So just go ahead and hit no and then just follow along with the video. But anyways, now we're going to see our actual clip in the timeline below, and you can like click through it and you can see like it actually changes in the preview window. But essentially like this whole like bottom area where you see your file, like you guys see my intro right now, where these two layers are, like the top layer and the bottom layer, this is essentially your timeline, and this is exactly where you're going to be editing the clips that you're going to be importing into the Project Media tab right here when you go to like file, import, and then you like drag in music and all those kind of things. Alright, so right now we've only imported like one file, and I'm guessing you guys imported like some random clip that you guys had stored on your hard drive, and I imported my intro. But essentially, since we only have one file in the timeline, we should only have two layers to work with. The video layer on the top, as you guys can see right here, then we also have the audio layer, and you can also just say track instead of layer, but I'm just so used to saying layer because I've used Photoshop for so long, but if I'm saying layer or track, it basically means the same thing. So most of the time the video layer is always going to be on the top and the audio layer is always going to be on the bottom, but if you're, in case you're like importing things like separately, like maybe like a video with no sound and then like a music track or something like that, that's not always going to be the case. So an easy way to tell if you're on an audio layer is just to check the left right here and see if you have a decibel slider, also known as the volume slider, and if you have that, then that means you're on an audio track, but if you don't have that, then you're either on a video layer or you're just on no layer at all. If let's say you want to add more layers or tracks, as most people call them, then all you have to do is just pick if you want another video track or another audio track, and when you find which one you want, just right click on the empty space on that track and then just hit insert video track, and when you do that, you'll see a new video track. Let's say I want a new audio track as well. All I have to do is just make sure I'm on the audio track right here, right click in a blank space, and then just hit insert audio track. So when doing things like this, you would actually be able to overlay another video or image on top of the video track right here. So if I put like a little logo here or something, then the logo would show up on top of the video right here. It's kind of like layers, if that makes sense. And I'm going to go more into detail in a second, but that's basically like the summary of it and how tracks and layers work. So just like I said before, this would come in handy if you're like trying to put like a logo on the top of a video, or maybe like an animation or some text and things like that. And I'll even show you guys an example in a bit, but I just want to show you guys how you can make more tracks in general. And trust me, I know how like confusing layers and tracks can be, and I know how hard they were for me when I was first learning how to do all this kind of stuff in Photoshop. But the way that I like to think about it personally, and how I like to think about layers and tracks, and I've said this in a couple of my other videos as well, but I like to think about it all as like a stack of paper, and the sheet that's on the most top of that stack of paper, also known as like the top layer, or like the top track if we're talking about Vegas, then that's going to cover everything else that it's on top of. And the sheet that's all the way at the bottom, also known as like the bottom track or bottom layer, that's going to be covered by basically anything that's on top of it. So like the sheets or layers, or I guess you could say tracks in the middle, will be covering one another, but the layers on top of them are going to be covering them, and then they're going to be covering the layers below them, if that makes sense. And I think it makes sense, but if it doesn't, please do let me know in the comments below and I'll try to explain it the best I can. I am going to be showing you guys some examples of how layers and tracks work in a bit so that you guys can like kind of get eased into the software and know that it's not really as scary as it looks. So just stay tuned for that and hopefully it helps you guys out. Also, if you do want to like delete a track that you're just not using or something like that, all you have to do is just right click in that track space and then just go and look for delete track. And once you do that, it should be back to normal. I'm just going to keep this like extra video layer right here. Maybe you want to use it later on. But anyways, also one thing I do want to mention is whenever you do import a clip, this is like a crucial step for like every video that you make using Sony Vegas. But right click on the video track of that clip, and then whenever you do that, go to switches, and then from there go down and hit disable resample. So doing a step that small is going to increase the quality of your videos by like a huge amount because it's going to be getting rid of like the ghosting and unnecessary blurs in your video. I'm sure you're not going to notice it right away, but trust me, it will make the biggest difference. Anyways, back to the whole program, and the first thing we see of course is going to be the preview screen, and this is essentially where you see like what your actual clip looks like at that like timestamp. So at 4 seconds and like 0.12 seconds or whatever, this is what my clip or like my intro looks like. And of course you guys are gonna have different clips that you're using, so that's what they do look like right there, and you can just see like what you're working with. But on the chance that your preview screen does look like really blurry or just doesn't look high quality, all you have to do to fix that is just go up here by the drop down right here. Yours might say different words right here like draft and maybe like full or like good auto or good full or things like that, but just go right here, click best, and then click on full, and then from there you should see like the true quality of what your clip truly does look like. Now the only downfall to setting your like preview screen to best full or whatever it is that it's going to cause your preview screen to lag most of the time when you are editing. So I personally just leave mine at preview, and I believe it was on auto, and whenever I'm editing I just leave mine at that because I can usually make out what's happening for the most part while editing. But if you are someone who's like dealing with like really specific clips and you want to make sure that everything is like crystal clear perfect, then of course you should edit with like best or full. But like when you don't necessarily need best full, then I highly recommend going back down to like preview auto or something lower just so it doesn't lag as much when you're trying to edit. Also, if your clips ever look laggy at all like in the preview screen, then trust me, it might just be because you have a lower end editing PC, because whenever you render the final product, it's probably going to look like super clean and crispy, so don't worry too much about the lag in the preview screen if there is any. My old PC used to have a ton of lag in it, but whenever I rendered the final product, it looked perfect as if there was no lag at all. Anyways guys, we can finally start the editing part of the tutorial, which I'm sure all you guys have been waiting for. So the first thing I want to actually start off and show you guys is how to zoom in and out of your timeline, and this can be super helpful when you're trying to make like precise cuts while editing. So if you scroll up on your mouse wheel, of course this is expecting that you use a mouse, but the timeline should zoom in as you guys can see on the screen right now. I can move to the side, and as you guys can see, it's kind of like zoomed in, but it's still like the same like 6-second long clip, but now it just looks like way bigger. And of course if you do the opposite by scrolling down, then the timeline should zoom back out, and that's basically like how you zoom in and out of your timeline. So anyways, the first thing I do want to show you guys, and I think it makes the most sense to teach anyone who's like just starting out on the software, but that's how to make cuts in your videos, or basically as Sony Vegas likes to call them, how to make splits. So if you do want to add a cut to the video, just click where you want to make a cut at, and so your timeline like scrubber moves there. So if I want to make a cut here, then that's where it would be. If I want to make a cut here, then that's where it would be. So let's go all the way to the beginning of the video, and let's say I want to make a cut right here where like the music first starts playing. So from there, all you have to do is just right click on the clip and then hit split. And once you do that, you can see that the clips have been split. So now this is its own clip, and the beginning is its own clip as well. And one thing I do want to quickly clarify is don't worry, we didn't delete anything like right here. The thing about splitting is that it splits right where you want it to split. So right where this clip ended, right here, so you guys can see like some blue is showing up in like the little preview screen right here. If we go to the beginning of this clip, it's like still starting out with like the blue, and then like of course like progresses onwards and whatnot. So if we do want to get rid of the first part, all we have to do is just click it and then click the delete key on our keyboard, and I'm sure you can also just right click and then just hit delete as well, or right there. But essentially once we do that, all we want to do is just move the clip all the way back to the beginning so that right from 0 seconds it will start from where we wanted it to start at. And we can also clip the end as well by just going to wherever we want to clip it, click or move our scrubber right there, right click, and you can hit split, and then you can just delete the ending. Or one thing you can also do is I'm just going to quickly hit CTRL+Z, which undoes everything that we just did. And you can also do that, I believe, by going to edit and then just hit undo. Yeah, so CTRL+Z right here. So if you did want to like, if you made a mistake, all you have to do is just go back here, click that, and it's just going to quickly like reverse one step. But anyways, another thing you can do instead of just hitting split and then deleting it is once you know that you don't want anything at the end of the clip, just right click it and then just hit trim end. And once you do that, it just gets rid of all the end from wherever you put your scrubber. I personally like that a lot because it gets like the whole split and deleting process done in one easy click, but of course it's totally up to you with what you want to do. Anyway, since I purposely like trimmed the end, actually I'm just going to quickly do it like one more time, like right here. So of course just go here, trim end, that's it. So that's the end is all like trimmed up. Let's go to the beginning. Actually, I'm gonna like also trim it from here as well. So I want to trim the start, and there you go. So now it just starts off right here and just ends right here. So before there was like some cool like fading in and out effects that I had, but I'm going to be showing you guys how to actually fade in and out on Sony Vegas, so I just didn't want that stuff to be there like while I was actually showing you guys like the tutorial. But anyways, of course, just like I mentioned, I want to show you guys how to fade your videos, because such a small feature can make the biggest difference in a video. And of course, that's something you'd want when you want someone to watch your video. You want them to notice the small things and be like, oh, I like this person's videos, let me like subscribe, hit that like button and all that good stuff. But anyways, usually most people add fades at the beginning of the video and at the end of a video, or usually at the beginning of a clip or at the end of a clip, so that they just don't start abruptly, I think that's how you say it, and instead just kind of like flow into one another like seamlessly, if that makes sense. But anyways, all you have to do to actually add a fade is just go to the top left of a clip, and when you do that, you should see a little arrow thing right here. I'm gonna zoom in for you guys, but as you guys can see, like my cursor changes. It was like that, or actually it was like this before, and then when I got here, it changes kind of like to this thing right here. I have no idea what shape that is, but it says fade and offset. So all you have to do from there, just click it and then drag in, and you should see like a little like line thing that starts coming in, and you can just drag it to as long as you want your fade to be. So if I want my fade to go like right here, let's just zoom out so I can show you guys that it's not really like a whole long thing, like it's just like a 1 second fade. As you can see, like the 1 second is right here, but now it's just gonna be a quick little 1 second fade, and I can quickly like show you guys that in the preview screen. If I start here, it's a black screen, and as it quickly like progress forwards, it starts becoming more visible, and as you guys can see, like now it's like the true like tone of the video. And of course, it's basically the same thing if you do want to make a fade out. All we have to do is just do the same thing we did before, go to the other corner and then move it inwards. So go up here, top right, drag it in, and let's just do 1 second backwards as well. So there you go. Actually, I don't think that's 1 second at all, but anyways, so if I was like play like the fade out part of the video, or play the fade out part of the intro, you guys can't see in the preview screen that it is going to start fading out. So let me just hit play, and you guys can see like the magic for yourselves. So anyways, in the timeline, it obviously looks like the fades are like a crazy big part of the video, but that's just because the intro is only like 6 seconds long. So of course, like making a fade 1 second and then making a fade backwards 1 second, like that takes up like 2 seconds of a whole 6 second video. So of course, it's not gonna be like that when you have like a whole gameplay, which is probably gonna be like a few minutes long, or maybe like a vlog clip or random things like that, because those aren't gonna be nearly as short as like a 6 second intro. And because of that, the fade won't be nearly as dramatic as it does look like right now in the timeline. But anyways, the cool thing about fades is that you can also add them to your audio, so that the music starts at a low volume and then it slowly like increases into normal sound, and then it slowly can like decrease back into low sound. So same thing, all you have to do is just go to the top left and then just drag it in as far as you want it to be, and then you can just drag it back out or like back in from the outro part as well. And as you can see, like I'm not gonna like actually play it because I don't want to like mess the audio levels up or anything, but the audio is gonna start out like super quiet. It's gonna start getting louder. Now it's gonna be the normal volume, and then it's gonna slowly start getting quieter again, and then that's basically it. And one other tip I do want to show you guys is, which I personally think is like insanely handy, and it's splitting your audio and video tracks. And what I mean by that is that when you first import a clip that has both audio and video, like this one right here, you'll see that both of the tracks are basically glued together, and like if you move one, then the other moves with it, as you guys can see right now. So if you did want to separate them, all you have to do is just deselect like both of the clips, and then just go ahead and click on either the audio track or the video track. It really doesn't matter. And then once you do that, right click it, go to group, and then from there just go and hit clear. Once you do that, you'll basically be able to split them, like you guys can see right here. Like now I can move the video track and the audio track still stays where it was before. And I'm 100% sure that a ton of you guys are thinking like, why would I ever want to learn this kind of a step, or why would I ever use this kind of a feature? But trust me, it comes in handy quite often. Sometimes I record a video and the audio isn't synced up with like my actual webcam, so it looks like I'm like talking before like you actually hear me like saying the words, if that makes sense. So to fix that, you can just quickly split the clips, make sure they're lined up properly, then just keep hitting play until like the preview screen looks like accurate with like the sound and like my lips moving. And then from there, all you have to do is just right click them, and then or like actually like click them both by holding control and then clicking them both, right click it, and then go to group, create new, and now they start moving together again just before. But of course, like in this situation, it's just gonna make no sense because before like the audio actually matched up with the video, but now it doesn't. So that's really just one example of one this could be used, but trust me, you're probably gonna be using it quite often eventually. Also, one thing I do want to mention is that whenever I start out a project, I always save it right away, so I don't have to go through like the hassle of setting things up the way I want them again in case Sony Vegas does crash, or like my PC shuts off, or the power goes out, or anything like that. So to save your project, just go up here to File, and then once you're here, go down to Save As, and then from there you can just save it to wherever you want it to save. And also give it like a good name. So just for the video, I'm just gonna type in like YouTube tutorial, but of course just name it something that actually like makes sense with the project that you're working on. So from there, once you actually have a name, all you have to do is just click save, and it will get saved to wherever you want to save it. So I saved mine to my desktop. And of course, this step can be like insanely useful if you want to like maybe stop editing for the night, go to sleep, and then continue in the morning when you wake up. You just don't have to like keep it open the whole night. And this can also be like insanely helpful, just like I said before, to make sure that you don't lose any progress along the way. way. Like, you never know, maybe your power could go out while you're editing like an insanely long video, and then you literally just lose your entire project right there. So I personally save my clips at least like every like 3 to 5 changes or cuts that I make in the timeline. I personally think that's insanely helpful doing it that way, because if Vegas does crash, you'll barely lose any data at all when you do reopen the project later on. Anyways, what I just showed you guys can basically be considered the bread and butter when it comes to making YouTube videos, and this is basically what like most editors and YouTubers like start out doing when they first start up their YouTube channel or start out like an editing career. Do keep in mind that this video is just a beginner's video, so of course I'm not going to be showing you guys how to add like lightsabers or other crazy effects, but if you do want to learn more, then by all means, I'm sure there's a ton of other videos out there for you guys to actually check out. So once you're done with this video, if you do want to learn more stuff like how to add lightsabers, crazy effects like green screening and all that good stuff, just go ahead and search up some tutorials on YouTube, because I'm 100% sure that you're going to find a ton of videos out there. So now for practice, we're going to be dragging in some footage into here and just redo some of the things that I just taught you guys, but on some different clips. And this is gonna be good practice, because in most videos you're more than likely gonna have multiple clips that you're working with, whether it be like multiple gameplays, an intro, or maybe like a normal video, even different scenes from like a vlog and things like that. So for this step, of course, you don't have to follow along with me like with every step that I'm doing, but I highly recommend just actually watching it and making sure that you're fully understanding all the steps that I'm showing you guys. Alright guys, so for the practice part of the video, I'm just going to move all the clips that we have, or basically like the intro, like the 6-second intro, back to the beginning. And of course I don't want like this blank space right here, because we were just messing around with it and I was just showing you guys how to actually like separate the clips. So I'm just going to quickly right click it, go to group, and then from there just going to hit clear, and then I'm just going to move the video track back to where it used to be. And then I'm just going to quickly hold control on my keyboard, click the top one, or actually click both of them, make sure they're both highlighted, right click it, and then go to group, create new, and then they're back to normal how they were before. I'm going to reduce the fade a bit because I don't want it to be like that major. Alright, it looks good. So now one thing I do want to quickly show you guys is that how you can actually import videos a different way. Like, I personally don't like going to file, then hitting import, then going to media, and then like actually browsing for a file that I want to use. I personally think that's like way too much work for me at least. So I usually, instead of doing that, I usually have the file open on like a file explorer ready. And so right here, this is what the file I want to use, the 7-kill VOD from stream. So this is like a little 7-kill gameplay on Fortnite that I had from a stream that I did a couple months ago, actually in July. So all I have to do is just click it and just drag it into the timeline, drop it, and there you go. That it's literally as simple as that. So you can skip the whole like going to file, going to import, going to media, and all that stuff. You can literally just drag and drop files into the timeline. They'll automatically get added to the project media tab right here, and they'll also go straight into the timeline perfectly. Alright, so first things first is we do want to get rid of this random like 1 second of nothingness right here. It's just going to be like a blank screen, so of course we don't want that. So all I have to do to get rid of that is just drag the new clip all the way back to the beginning of where, or like actually to the ending of where the previous clip ended, and that's it. So now right as this clip ends, the other one's going to start. But of course I actually want to have like some kind of like a fade, or maybe like a dissolving effect or something like that. So what I like to personally do is just drag the clip into the other one by maybe like 1 second or something like that. So we'll have to drag it a bit. But right here, now it's 1 second, so I can quickly show you guys like what it's going to look like in a second. So as you guys can see, that was like the little fade that I just added onto the video by just dragging one clip into the other clip. I personally think that's like an insanely clean transition, and I highly recommend a lot of people use it when they're first starting out with Vegas. Then later on you can go into the transitions tab and just look at other things that you might be better at, whether it be like a page loop or something like that. But I honestly think some of these are like a bit too extra, so I personally like to do this one, but of course just do whatever makes you happy. And the next tip, which I did say in the beginning of this video, is probably one of like the biggest tips I can say, and that's always to disable your resample. So click on the clip, click on the video's clip, right click it, go to switches, and then go to disable resample. And on the chance that this stuff like doesn't show up, it usually just means that you didn't click on the clip properly. So just make sure that you clicked on it, make sure that it's highlighted in yellow, right click it, go to switches, and then disable resample. I do this with every single clip that I drag in, and on the chance that you do forget to do it like later on in the video, and you're like, oh my god, I forgot to disable resample, all I have to do is just like hold control, click on the first clip, go all the way and just click through each clip that you have, and then you can actually just disable the resample on all of them together, which sometimes I do at the end in case I did forget, but most of the time I always remember. So for me personally, I'm going to be splitting the audio and visual tracks because I personally like to add music to my videos, and I don't like to have like all the gun sounds and things happening in the video. So all I have to do for that is just right click anywhere, go to group, and then click on clear. And then once you do that, you can move the audio track by itself. So what I'm going to do is just delete it right there. And I'm also just going to go ahead and delete the audio track from my intro as well because I personally don't need it. So I'm just going to click U, which is also an easy way to unlink it from the group that's in on your keyboard. Just hit U and instead of going to right click, going to group, and then hitting clear, just hit U, and that's basically it. So once you do that, you can just hit delete. And there you go. So we have no audio in the clip right now, or no audio in the actual timeline, but we do have the videos just like we want them. And I believe if I zoom out, this is like a 10-minute clip. So of course I do not want to have a 10-minute video. I'm just gonna like lower it to like right here. Just gonna go ahead, trim the start, and then I have no idea if anything like cool even happens in this. Okay, yeah, nothing cool is happening in the video. Okay, yeah, maybe it looks like I'm in a gunfight right here. So let's just quickly delete it from there. Go here, zoom back in, and let's just say that I want it to be like a 40-second video. So I'll go to like where it says 44 right here. Of course you can can just look right here and we can see that we're on the 45th second of the timeline. Let's just do that because 40 seconds too much work for me for a tutorial. So do that, right click, split, and then trim end, and there you go. So like that's basically the whole length of the video now. We got rid of all the extra stuff that we didn't need, and that's basically like a quick little summary on how to use like trimming and clipping and all that good stuff. So of course, since I did that, my fade right here did go away, so I'm just gonna quickly drag it back in until we get the 1 second mark. The cool thing about Vegas is that it always tells you like where you are per second, so you can usually like quickly like grab onto that. So I did that right there, and I'm gonna quickly add like a normal fade out at the end, and we're just gonna make it like 3 seconds long or something like that. I don't know. That looks fine for me personally. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys an example of how layers might work, and this is incredibly useful for whenever you might want to add like a still picture or like a moving video. All you have to do is just right click on some blank space for a video track, just like I showed you guys before, then just go to insert video track, but now we have two because I forgot to delete one in the previous step before. So just going to quickly delete one of the ones I had, and your screen should look pretty similar to the one that I have right now when talking about layers. So we should only have 3 right now. You might have more than me, you might have less, but this is basically like the general concept of how layers work. And on the chance that you do want to like reorganize your layers, so let's say that you wanted this video track to be on top of that one, all you have to do is just drag it on top, and that's it. So now anything that's on this layer is going to be under like the gameplay right here, but anything that's on this one is going to be on top of that one, if that makes sense. But for me personally, in this example, I'm just going to quickly drag this back down. I'm going to be showing you guys how to like add a logo onto like a screen. So let me just quickly search a logo. I should have one, I think, in my graphic design folder, and yeah, right here. So I actually made this one today. So all I have to do is just drag it into the timeline just like I showed you guys before, and there you go. So I can quickly close out of that. And right here, all I have to do is just drag it all the way to the end so that it covers like basically the whole video. I'm going to drag it all the way to where this like first like fade happens. So right from the first fade ending, it's going to start off and show you guys my logo. Now before I show you guys like how to resize and refit the logo to actually like match your screen perfectly, I do want to quickly mention that the layer step that I'm showing you guys right now is incredibly useful when you have something like a logo or a watermark that you want to sit on top of all your videos at all times. A good example of one that you're looking at right now is actually the banner on the bottom right of this video that has all my social medias on it. I believe it has like my YouTube, my Twitter, my Instagram, and my Snapchat on it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I actually just named all 4 of them, but anyways, that's like a really good example, and I literally made that visible on the video that you guys are watching right now by using these steps that I'm about to show you guys. So anyways, my logo right here, it's way too big for me, so what I want to do to actually make it fit perfectly is go to the crop tool right here. It should be on the top right of whatever like layer you're on, and on the chance that you don't see it, all you have to do is just zoom in more until you can actually see it. So once I zoom in, just scroll to the right where the clip actually ends, and there it is. So click it, and you should be put into like the crop window right here. And on the chance that yours looks like really zoomed in like this one does right here, all you have to do is just drag it from the bottom corner, and as you can see, now we have more space to work with. So the first thing that I personally have to do, because my logo is basically like just a little square right here, what I have to do is just go here and unlock the aspect ratio, and then once I do that, I can go up here to the width, change this to 1920, and I can go to the height and I can change this to 1080. Once I do that, I hit enter, and as you guys can see, like the little like square right here, it's basically the size of like what a normal video should be like. So from there, I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly lock the aspect ratio one more time, and from there, all you want to do is just hold shift and then drag it out, because that keeps the same proportion while you're dragging it out. And then just hold shift again and just keep dragging out until I find a good size for the logo and where I want to put it. And I think that's a decent size. Honestly, I really don't care what this whole video is going to look like at the end. I'm just showing you guys this as an example. But of course, with the video that, or like with the logo that you're using, of course, take some more time and find something that works really well for you. So once I do that, as you guys can see, the rectangle is the perfect size of my video. So if I was to move the rectangle right here, then as you can see, like the logo is actually moving into the bottom left corner. And if I move it right here, now it's going to move to the top left corner. Move it right here, it's at the top right corner. Move right here, bottom right corner. So I'm just gonna do the bottom left corner like right here. I think it looks perfect right there. Obviously, like it's not the best logo, but I think it does the job, and it basically shows you guys how to like use a cropping tool, how to actually add a logo, how to use layers and things like that. So anyways, now we can actually zoom out of the clip and go back to like what it used to look like. And of course, one thing that I noticed right away is we don't have any music since we got rid of like all the audio that we had in the clip. So let me just, I for some reason have that all the way down, but quickly drag that back up to the normal levels, and let's just look for some music. And one thing I do want to mention is that you need to keep in mind that YouTube usually is not going to allow you to use music by popular artists such as like Drake or Juice WRLD or like Youngboy Never Broke Again and like all these other famous rappers or country artists or whatever kind of music you listen to. So you're going to have to find some copyright free music if you actually do want to be able to monetize your content. So for me personally, since I already have this audio track, we can already work with it. But on the chance that you don't have an audio track, just right click it, go to insert audio track, or also just hit Control and then Q on your keyboard, and then a new audio track should appear. But since we already have one, just gonna quickly go ahead and delete this one, and we're gonna work with this one right here. So for me personally, I'm not gonna be uploading like this random video that I'm like actually showing you guys how to edit onto YouTube. So I'm just gonna track by like an actual famous artist, Youngboy Never Broke Again. But of course, I highly recommend you guys use like some copyright free music so that you guys can actually like monetize your content later on down the line. But anyways, I'm just gonna quickly close out of that window on my other monitor, and now we have this whole track. And as you guys can see, it's insanely long. So of course, if we want to get rid of like some of the beginning and maybe like some of the end, And so let me just, of course, like you're gonna want to like actually listen to the song and see like what makes sense to get rid of and what makes sense to keep. But for me personally, I really don't care. You guys aren't even gonna be able to like listen to music because I'm not gonna play it because I don't want to get copyright striked. But anyways, once you do have your music in there, let's just make sure that it does match up with all the clips perfectly. So all you have to do is just make sure that it matches up perfectly. Just trim and like use splits and whatnot. Insanely easy, and I already taught you guys how to do it. One thing that we can quickly do is just fade in the beginning and the end, just like I showed you guys earlier. Let's add a fade to the logo as well, so let's add like a 1.11 fade, and we'll do that too, and that basically just means it's going to be 1 second, and then I think the 0.11 is like milliseconds or something. I'm not too sure how that works, but let's just go ahead and add that to the end as well. Just time it up with that one right there. Alright, so now we can zoom out of that, and the first thing you're more than likely going to notice is how high like the audio levels actually look in the timeline. As you guys can see, there's a bunch of like big bumps happening. So one thing I personally like to do in my videos so that like people that are actually watching me can actually hear what I'm saying is I always go right here into the middle of the audio track, and I usually drag this down about like 10, I guess like 10 decibels is probably good right here. I dragged that about like 10 decibels, and as you can see, it looks way quieter now. And if I was to play it, you'd be able to like tell that the audio is like way quieter than it was before. And what I also like to do is drag this one down to like 28 or something. It seems really extreme, but it's all depending on like the kind of music that you're using in your video. Alright guys, so anyways, when you're done actually making your video, you can go up here to the top left of your preview screen, hit the gear icon, and once you do that, you should see a project properties window open up, and it should look pretty similar to the one that I'm showing you guys right now. So let's say that I wanted to, I wanted to make a video at like 1080p at 30 FPS. All I would have to do is go to the template, hit the little arrow right here, and then just look for your HD 1080 24p. Once you do that, all the values should adjust to actually match whatever is set with the template. Of course, this frame rate isn't in 30 FPS, so I'd have to go to 29.97 to actually change it. But anyways, that's basically the gist of it. Realistically speaking, however, you can just type in all the settings manually and still get the same result. So I always upload my videos in 1080p, so that's why my width and height is always 1920 by 1080. And I'm just going to quickly show you guys the template that I use for all my videos, and I actually have it saved. So I'm going to hit Muaaz, and as you guys can see, I have mine at 1920 by 1080 because I upload all my videos in 1080p. But on the chance that you ever like record or want to upload your videos in 720p, then all you have to do is just change your width to 1280 and then change your height to 720. But since I upload in 1080p, I'm just going to leave mine as it is. And of course, when you do like make videos in 1080p, they are going to take longer to render and upload, but I personally think it's worth the wait, and that's why I do it. But I highly recommend that you guys go ahead and make sure that everything matches exactly what I'm showing you guys on the screen right now. Frame rate, this is basically what your frames per second are going to be, so I like to have mine at 60 FPS. Of course, it doesn't say 60 in the actual like little drop down menu. It says 59.94, but it actually rounds up to 60, and the same thing happens with 29.97. It will round up to 30. So do whatever you want to actually match like your video settings, but these are the ones that I use personally. And then I can show you guys my audio one as well. I don't really do any changes to the audio, the ruler, the summary, or the audio CD. All the main stuff is really just done in the video tab, so keep all the stuff the same as I have right here. And once you're done, just rename the template to like, I don't know, maybe like Muaaz, and then just hit the little save icon right here. Once you do that, what I like to personally do is uncheck the adjust source media to better match project or render settings. Then I do like to check start all new projects with these settings, hit apply, hit OK, and you should be good to go. Anyways guys, now for the next tip, I want to quickly go through the video and find a part that actually has like a lot happening. So let me just quickly go through. I think I'm probably just gonna end up having to do the part that I'm just sitting on these stairs unless I can find a better part. Let me just quickly check a second. Alright, yeah, so I think I'm just gonna go back to the beginning, like right here, because there's a ton of things going on. You can see like a ton of different like objects in the actual video. But anyways, right here I'm going to be showing you guys how to actually do color correction, and this is insanely helpful to make your like videos look a bit more like appealing and basically like more pleasuring to the eyes, if that makes sense. I know it sounds like super weird, but most of the time like whatever clip you're using looks really dull whenever it's recorded on a camera or maybe even on a computer. So I always add a color correction to my videos because it just makes them look way better. So the way to do that is go to the video effects tab, and this basically just means video effects, and that's just essentially just like I said before, like changing the colors on your videos, maybe adding like some brightness, maybe making it darker, making it black and white, adding color correction, all that good stuff. So once you do that, what I like to personally do is go to color corrector secondary right here, and if you can't read it fully, all you have to do is just drag this right here, and then you should be able to see it. And then from there I click on the default one and I actually hold it, and then from there I just drag it onto the actual main clip, and then from there you should see a new window appear right here. So I'm just going to quickly make this smaller so that you guys can actually see the preview window while I'm actually making these changes. So for me personally, I have no idea what this thing on the top is, so I always leave it the same with rotate hue, but saturation is very helpful in actually changing. So as you guys can see, if I was to make this brighter and you guys look at the preview window, like the colors just start getting way more vibrant. And now like when you drag it all the way up, like of course that looks like insanely ugly, you don't want it to be like that. And 1.0 is actually going to be the default, but maybe dragging it up to like just a bit so that you can see the colors start to pop more, that's going to help out a ton. So maybe like 1.5, you can also just type it in manually too. So 1.5, do that, the colors look way more vibrant than they did before, and I'm even going to show you guys like how you can see the before and after in a second. So now the next one is gamma, and the way I see that is basically the brightness of your video. So if I drag it all the way up, as you can see, the video gets insanely bright. If I drag it all the way down, it gets insanely dark. So what I like to do is I just keep mine at 1.0, just keep it at the default, because honestly I think it looks perfect there. And honestly, it's basically the same thing for gain too, which is the next one. It's just basically like brightness and darkness, but it's not nearly to the same level as gamma in my personal opinion. So I'll usually like bump mine up to like maybe like 1.1 or something like that, just so it looks a bit better than it did before. And so when it comes to offset, I truly have like not really much of an idea of what this does. It's basically like the brightness as well, but I usually like to drag mine to maybe like -5. Yeah, perfect. Like -5 usually looks pretty solid for me. Then from there, you can just go ahead right here, just name in whatever you want to do. You can name it like color correction settings or something like that. Hit the save icon, hit close, and then there you go. So now I'm going to actually show you guys what it looks like before and after, and all I have to do to actually check that is go up here to like where I showed you guys how to change the preview quality of the actual preview screen. Click the button next to it that says split screen view. I don't know why I'm stuttering so much during this video. I've actually been recording this video. Super side note, it's been over an hour of me recording this video. I have no idea how long I was able to shorten it to. I wanted to aim below 20 minutes, but I have no idea if I'm going to be able to do that. I just made that many mistakes while recording the video. But anyways, all I have to do is click this button, and as you can see, like the side gets way more dark and like grayscale, I guess, if that makes sense. And the other side stays way more vibrant and like more appealing to look at. So the right side is what we just did with the color correction. The left side is what the default video actually looked like. So anyways, from there we can turn off the split screen view. And one thing I do want to mention is that make sure that you have been saving your like actual project as you make changes. And the cool thing is, after you did your first initial save, you should have a new title on the top left that says, because I saved mine as YouTube tutorial.veg, and VEG is actually like a Vegas studio file, or I think that's what it's called, something like that. But anyways, all you have to do to actually just save it again is go to file, and just hit save. So you don't have to do save as again because it's already been saved initially. So whenever you do save, it'll just keep overriding and updating the project file with the new changes that you've made. But anyways, from there, make sure that all your videos are like right next to each other and there's no like blank spaces between them, because if there are any blank spaces, then that means your video is going to have a bunch of like random seconds of literally just a blank screen. So don't have any blank spaces. Make sure that everything is flushed together perfectly. From there, when you're done actually working on your video, you can go up here to file. Then once you're here, go to render as, and then from there you can basically name the video whatever you want to name it. But anyways, I personally always use Magic's AVC, AAC, MP4, and I use this one right here because it works with my NVIDIA graphics card perfectly. But I know not everyone even has a graphics card in general, or might not have an NVIDIA graphics card. But if you do have an NVIDIA graphics card, I highly recommend you use this one instead. I literally make 0 changes to the actual project file or the project template. I just click it and then I hit render. That's it. But the one that I want you guys to use in case you don't have like an NVIDIA graphics card, or maybe you don't have a graphics card in general, is go down here to Sony AVC/MVC. And you can literally pick whichever one you want to use. I believe I would most of the time always just go up here and click Internet 1920 1080 30p, hit customize template, and then I'm going to tell you guys exactly what you should type in right here. So I'm just going to quickly close out of this. I want you guys to keep that open though, because I do want to give you guys the proper values that I personally use for my template whenever I'm rendering, and then you guys can use the exact same ones. And let me just quickly look for mine. So mine is titled Banana Gaming August 2018 because that's a different YouTuber that I watch, and he made a video on how to actually render on Sony Vegas. So I started using his render settings and they've been working pretty well for me. But anyways, these are the settings that I want you guys to copy. So make sure that include video is checked, video format AVC, frame size 1920 by 1080. Unless you're doing a 720p video, then of course click that, go to 1280 by 720. But I personally do 1080, and most people usually do 1080 nowadays, so I recommend you do the same. Make sure profile is high, make sure entropy coding is kback, I think that's how you say it. Frame rate, of course, I upload all my videos in 60 fps, so I'm going to keep mine at 59.94, but if you do want to do 30 fps, then just change it to 29.97 NTSC. Anyways, from there, uncheck that, none, 1.000, and for bitrate, I always just click that and drag it all the way down to the whatever is my max one that I can do. I click that, leave that there, leave this at 1, enable progressive download, go to audio, leave that all the same, system, leave that all the same, and I'll leave project. You might have to change a couple things here, but make sure that yours is literally just the same as mine. From there, click OK. And if you want, you can change the destination to wherever you want your final video to get saved to. So I'm fine with just leaving it at my desktop. And one thing I do want you guys to make sure that you do is click the render options button right here and make sure that render loop region only is unchecked. If it's checked, then that means it's only going to render whatever you have selected at the time. So if you have this selected, then you want to use render loop region only because that's all you want to render. But if you want the entire video to render, then all you have to do is just make sure that nothing is selected, go back to file, render as, and then just use the same things I was showing you guys before. So Sony AVC MVC, use the one that I do, and also make sure you actually save yours. So you can just change your name to like Muaaz 2018, wherever you want to name it, hit save, hit OK, and then from there, if you actually add the little click the little star right there, and then from there, I think if you hit this and then do show favorites only, you'll only see the ones that are starred, and that means you won't have to like scroll through and like actually find the one that works. you can just use the ones that are already starred. So I'm just gonna click this one, save it to my desktop, make sure that render loop region only is off. From there, hit render, and you should be good to go. So anyways guys, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Like I said in the beginning, if I was able to help you guys in any way, please do hit that like button and also subscribe, as we're on our way to 200,000 subscribers, and all help is appreciated. Also be sure to share this video with your friends. I personally know how hard Vegas was for me to learn when I first started, and I hope this can help anyone else out there who's struggling with the software. I know it's a hard one to learn at first, but it's really not that bad once you actually start getting used to it. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.